right there.
This is what you're going to be humming when you leave tonight. What'll dance in your head as you drive home and turn down the sheets as your mind sifts through the story of the evening. The song is Comin' Home Baby, and it sprang from the imagination of a young man from Middle Tennessee.
My mother back then was trying to get me not to play, to be a musician. She wanted me to have a more secure job, like working at the post office, working for the railroad, that kind of a thing. But I stuck to my guns. Georgia, Georgia.
In all other things, you can be sure that Ben and his twin brother Reuben listened to Mama. But on jazz, he was immovable. He stuck with his bass through high school, college, and then the military.
I think Ben just put in the hard work, the 10,000 hours, to make himself a world-class musician.
I was in the Air Force, and I was stationed in Victorville, California, and I used to go into Hollywood. I ran into a great saxophonist by the name of Warren Marsh, and finally they let me sit in, and Warren heard me play one day and asked me to join his group.
A little success emboldened Tucker. He moved to Chicago and then decided to take a bite out of the Big Apple.
But he went right out and started working, and he was a hustler from the beginning, and I mean that in the best sense of the word. He was always hustling and worked extremely hard to put himself in situations where he could keep a paycheck coming in.
New York was tough, 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 tough. I don't want to go through that again, but they're talking about hard times. I had some hard times in New York City, not knowing anyone, staying in little flea bags and all kinds of stuff, trying to make things happen.
One good thing came out of all that hardship in New York, though. Gloria Tucker, who had been trying to find Ben an apartment over the phone but had never met him.
I think that's what I played.
My One and Only Love was the song he played when he first set eyes on her.
I invited her to come to the Hickory House to be my guest, to show my appreciation for her. She came in to the Hickory House. She had another lady, and I knew it was her when she walked through the front door. It was all over except the shouting.
With Gloria at his side and shoe leather on the street, Ben eventually knocked on enough doors to break into the jazz big time.
I was hungry and I needed a job, so I got on the subway and went to the Hickory House and walked in and sat down and said to Marion McPartland, I said, can I play? She says, who are you? I says, my name is Ben Tucker. I'm from California. I just moved in. Well, I never heard of you. So she asked the bass player, have you heard of Ben Tucker before? He says, no. He said, he wants to play. Can he play your bass? I want to see what this guy sounds like. I said, great. I said, all I want to play is one tune. She said, that's all I'm going to let you play is one tune. I got on the bandstand with Mary McPartland, and I played one tune, and she turned it around. She said, I like that. I said, oh, yeah, okay. As I went to lay the bass down because the tune was over, she said, no, play one more, will you? And she called up another tune for me to play. And I went to lay the bass down again. She said, no, play one more. And I stayed up there for the whole set. Now, that's an hour and 15 minutes, man. I said, cool. I laid the bass down after the hour and 15 minutes. And I told her, I said, look, if you ever need me, here's my number, call me, please, you know. And she says, oh, I will. And when I got home, the phone rang. And this is like 2 o'clock in the morning. This is Ben Tucker. Hi, Ben, this is Mary McPartland. My bass player was just intimidated over you, and he quit. So, can you work? I said, yes, yes, yes.
I'm coming home now. Coming home, baby, now.
You know I'm waiting here for you.
I'm coming home now, real soon.
It was while cooking up a batch of oxtails.
That's right, partner. I love oxtails, you know that.
And waiting for Gloria, that Comin' Home Baby came into Ben's mind, a song recorded by Mel Torme, Michael Bublé, Sergio Mendes, and the one that mattered the most.
I was working with Herbie Mann at the time at the Village Gate, and he was getting ready to do some recording, and I says, hey, look, Herbie, let me teach you this song. He says, cool. And we went out and recorded the tune the next night.
I'm coming home now.
And that started my life for real.
Usually a legend needs no introduction, but I've never had the opportunity of introducing one, so I'm going to right now. Ben Tucker.
Ben figures about 5 million copies of Comin' Home Baby have been sold so far. He rode some of those royalties all the way south to Savannah.
I wanted to get into communications. I wanted to get into dealing with African American people. I wanted to get into to my people participating in the free enterprise system. And that was my reason for really coming to Savannah and buying WSOK radio.
Some people even said that Ben Tucker might have been a carpetbagger, warmed over twice, coming down from the north, peddling, messages to relate to the local community to only upset people.
On 1230 WSOK.
At WSOK, he shook things up, bringing a professional presence and a business sense to an enterprise that had lacked structure.
That's the reason why we were so proud, because he was the first African American to own a station, and that gave us hope that it could be done.
The Wall Street Journal took notice the way WSOK's involvement in the community was reaping business rewards, and Ben kept burrowing deeper and deeper into the fabric of the market.
Turned the station around and became #1 in 43 days.
That station was enlightening for us, and we were all inspired by the fact that that station was reaching out to the community.
This is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made, that the Lord has made.
Daufuskie Island got Ben's attention when Emory Campbell discovered a problem in the woods and marshes of the primitive setting.
They didn't have toilets over there. They didn't have running water. So they had potties they put under the bed. And then in the morning, they take the pot and they scatter it. So you do that over a period of years, and you're going to get worms all over the place, and the kids out there playing in dirt and sand and get all in the fingernails, and they put their hands in the mouth, and the next thing you know, they have worms in the system.
The kids became a mission for Ben, and with his influence and Campbell's determination, they were able to restore the children to health.
When we were trying to organize the water system and the privy system, we wanted wide publicity for it, and we called on Ben and the radio station, and he was willing to help publicize what we were doing.
Ben Tucker, he's my friend.
Ben still has a focus on young people, working his magic on the golf course with First Tee, a character-building organization that happens to involve sports.
Ben exudes values. He exudes fairness. When the kids see Ben, the respect and the courtesy just flows out.
Okay, I think we're ready for music. Please welcome on the bass, a fellow I think you've heard of before, Mr. Ben Tucker. Turn away.
Rob Gibson says Ben's not as good a golfer as he thinks he is, but nobody challenges the master on the bass. Witness any Sunday morning at the Westin.
When you mention the word Ben Tucker to people, particularly outside of the area, you get this kind of twinkle in their eye and they're saying, you really do have a jazz legend.
I love him to death. He spent too much time in New York.
Musician, businessman, philanthropist. The young man from Brentwood, Tennessee has made an indelible impression on Savannah, the music world, and all who have known him.
For me, when you look at jazz, you have composers, you have performers, you have educators, you have band leaders, and you have people who are mainstays in the community. And to an extent, Ben's been all of that. So I think he's really a very important guy for Savannah. I think he's a tremendous jazz bass player. And I think he's one of those guys that his career will show in the long haul that he never stopped trying to swing. And that's really what jazz is about.
Ben is the kind of individual who can do exactly what his music does, and that is to transcend race relations.
You'd say talented, you could say, hard work, you can say world famous, but I think more than anything else is the gentle soul that he is.
To love, to understand, and appreciate people, and to appreciate your family, and to love your family, and stick with your family. Just stick, just hang through hard times and good times. And the good times will outweigh the bad times if you can just hang in there and be cool. Be cool.
Ben Tucker is a laureate in the Savannah Business Hall of Fame.